David Hasselhoff joins Melody Monday at 7:30. This is the Channel 2 Weekend News with Colleen Williams, David Garcia, and Roy Firestone with sports.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel 2 News tonight. It looks like Pasadena the night before the Rose Parade, but tonight hundreds of people are lined up for 10 miles waiting for a job. Thousands of would-be dock workers are still waiting along Gaffey Street and Westmont Drive in San Pedro just to get an application early tomorrow morning from the Pacific Maritime Association. There are jobs for 300 longshoremen and 50 maritime clerks, and they are prepared to pass out 40,000 applications. Dock workers start at $12.42 an hour. The line began to form early yesterday, and worried police say so far no problems. Some of those people waiting told Channel 2 News what motivated them.
The money. The hours.
There is no competition. It's either you got it or you don't. And it's not who you know or anything else. It's, you know, it's all about if you can do the job. Just basically everybody's got a chance.
Officials tell us applications will be handed out in the morning at the San Pedro Drive-In, the time beginning at 7 a.m.
And very sad news tonight. The bodies of 2 U.S. servicemen killed in Thursday's embassy bombing in Beirut returned to American soil tonight. The bodies of Army officer Kenneth Welch and Navy officer Michael Wagner arrived at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware tonight, transported from Rhine-Main Air Base in West Germany. A military honor guard was there to receive the bodies. More elaborate services will be held Monday morning before the bodies are returned to their respective homes. Those wounded in the terrorist attack were transported to West Germany today. 8 Americans and 1 Lebanese citizen were taken to nearby Landstuhl Army Hospital. The remaining 8 of the more seriously injured were hospitalized in Beirut. And at the same time, U.S. officials began an investigation into the bombing that killed at least 24 people. Security has been beefed up at the embassy since the attack. State Department officials admitted today security was 75% complete at the U.S. Embassy, but they deny the program was lagging.
There isn't anything such as 100% security that permits you at the same time to do the job that you're asked to do, that you feel it's important to do for the United States.
Shelling continued today east of Beirut near the U.S. ambassador's residence. A ceasefire was arranged after an early morning exchange of gunfire between Lebanese army and Druze militiamen. Colleen?
Elsewhere in the Middle East, Iraqi forces claim they attacked an Iranian petrochemical complex in the Persian Gulf today. This is the second retaliatory strike against the vital Iranian facility. Meantime, here in Los Angeles tonight, a candlelight vigil protesting the war between the two countries was held. The vigil is in commemoration of the 3rd anniversary of that war. The Committee Against the Iran-Iraq War sponsored that vigil.
Workers at GM's Van Nuys plant will continue their strike through the weekend, despite a national tentative agreement between the UAW and GM. Local talks will resume Monday morning, 8 a.m. Local union officials are not requesting workers to return to the plant, despite a plea from national UA headquarters to stop the strike. Several issues remain unresolved at the GM plant in Van Nuys.
Well, right now it's just a small grievance procedure that we have written over the plant, health, safety, things like that. You know, it gets real hot in there. We have very little air conditioning, things like that.
The local UAW president says one reason to continue striking at Van Nuys is to disrupt retooling at the plant, which was scheduled to begin yesterday. The action will stop the company from getting to work on 1985 Chevrolet Camaros and Pontiac Firebirds.
Meantime, the roads are finally clear at this hour after an overturned oil rig dumped 3,200 gallons of crude oil earlier today. That meant a day of cleanup problems on 2 of the Southland's freeways. The spill closed ramps between the southbound Long Beach Freeway and the eastbound 91. At first, Caltrans workers tried to soak up the spill with sand. Then they resorted to steam cleaning the freeways. No one was hurt. That rig was en route from Bakersfield to Long Beach when the accident occurred.
Well, if you live in North Hollywood, chances are good that your clocks are a bit off tonight. Today, the DWP was switching off the power at sporadic intervals in order to complete some extensive repair work. The need for it was brought on by a massive power outage in the same area earlier this month. During a heat wave, an overloaded transformer exploded at a DWP substation. Today's repairs affected some 12,000 North Hollywood customers. Special bond financing is giving first-time home buyers a chance at owning their own home in Canoga Park. The program is one of a series of housing projects designed to provide homes for middle-income families who normally would find it difficult, if not impossible, to finance a house in Los Angeles. People camped out all night at the Canoga Park location to stake their claim to a home, a new home.
How does an 18-year-old manage to buy a condominium like this?
Bond financing, CHAFA program. It's a 5% down, first-time home buyer. It's a good start for any first-time home buyer of any age, you know, of legal lending age.
The main eligibility requirements are good credit and an annual income between $25,000 and $38,000. There are about 20 similar projects underway in other parts of Los Angeles County, and those are due to open sometime in the future. Colleen?
There's more to come here on the Channel 2 News tonight. Geraldine Ferraro challenges President Reagan to fight like a man. In France, leaders of several countries vow never to fight again. And in one Southland community, residents are fighting to get a new high school. But the issue has become clouded with charges of racism.
Okay, miss. What's with the phone booth?
Oh, we're just proving a point.
Just the facts, ma'am.
Well, the fact is the Toshiba BD3301 is so small you can fit 26 in an ordinary phone booth. But it's so sophisticated. Advanced fiber optics, a fast 12 copies a minute.
Edge copies, Joe?
Nice set of prints, ma'am.
That's Toshiba, Joe. Quality in, quality out.
Frank, maybe you better call this in.
Can't, Joe.
Why not?
Phone booth full of Toshiba copiers.
It has a 6-cylinder engine borrowed from the BMW 528e. A computerized engine management system from the BMW 733i. And a suspension derived from the BMW 633 CSI. Introducing the only car morally entitled to borrow these innovations from BMW. The BMW 325e.
That dress is irresistible.
So's your Aramis.
I have an idea. Why don't you go in and say goodnight all, time to go home?
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yes.
Only nobody's gotten here yet.
Nobody.
The Aramis Fabulous Five. Your grooming gift with any $10 purchase of Aramis, Devon, Aramis 900, or JHL. Now at May Company.
The Soviet Union may have breached the SALT agreement. A story in the Los Angeles Times today quotes a senior Pentagon official as saying the Soviets may be secretly deploying more ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles. The buildup may be happening at bases where the Soviets say they are installing short-range missiles. ICBMs have the ability to hit U.S. targets. It was a solemn occasion and a momentous one. French President Francois Mitterrand and West German Chancellor Helmut Kohl today honored the dead from 2 world wars. Clasping hands on one of the bloodiest battlefields of modern history, the 2 men honored their dead soldiers, then vowed to work together toward a united Europe. It was the first time a German leader made a pilgrimage to the site of the 1916 World War I battlefield of Verdun.
In this country, Democratic vice presidential candidate Geraldine Ferraro wasn't pulling any punches today as Campaign 84 continues full force. At a news conference outside her home, Ferraro called on President Reagan to come out and fight like a man. She made the challenge amid what she calls clear evidence of an organized effort to attack her politically. There have been news reports that Republicans are holding political strategy meetings aimed at undermining Ferraro's candidacy. President Reagan spoke on the radio today in defense of his refusal to impose steel import quotas. Mr. Reagan claims such a move would only ignite inflation and destroy jobs. Democratic presidential candidate Walter Mondale favors quotas, saying excessive steel imports are idling U.S. steel workers.
And here in the Southland, the community of Lynwood is embroiled in a debate over where to build a new high school. Channel 2's Tony Cox reports what should be a simple matter of choosing a building site has turned into a bitter battle involving charges of racism.
We thought we had left Alabama.
Yes, dear.
We thought we had.
That's right.
Lynwood residents are embroiled in a bitter political and educational battle. The only high school in town, Lynwood High, is by most measurements substandard. So the state approved $34 million to build a new school here at Hams Park, adjacent to an industrial area, a former city dump, and 2 freeways. But the city council and school board of Lynwood have balked, rejecting the site and potentially the money on grounds the site is dangerous and unnecessary. But some residents, including the local NAACP president, say it's really because of their dislike for this woman, Lynwood Superintendent Dr. Charlie Knight.
No, I don't think the city council is anti-education. I think they're a little uptight with me, and I have to take the full responsibility for their behavior toward me. I have been rather aggressive in this community. I have tried to keep the citizens in this community informed. I have illuminated some rather embarrassing conditions in this area.
When you get into trying to dictate to the people of this city what you personally want, that will not work.
If the board wants a school, the state is giving them every option. They are saying, even though the park would be an appropriate option, they would be willing to take